Hello guys and welcome to my channel. In today's video I am going to be sharing with you 3 different methods that you can use to gather fabrics. These methods are very simple and easy to follow, so whether you're a beginner or you're a pro, I can guarantee that this method will work out for you. If you're interested in learning something like this, keep watching. And before we jump into this tutorial, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like, comment, share and turn on your post notification bell. The word gathers or gathering is a technique that is used to shorten the length of a strip of fabric in such a way that the longer piece is attached to the shorter piece to create significant fullness. So the main essence of really gathering your fabric is to create ruffles, to create this significant fullness. There are various methods that you can use to gather your fabrics, but in this video I am going to be focusing on only 3 methods. So guys, I have gone ahead to cut this little band which I'll be using to demonstrate. This band measures around 11 inches. So I will be gathering this long piece of fabric onto the band. So guys, to know the length of fabric to cut out, I always advise that you measure your circumference and multiply that number by 3. That is like the standard. If you want to get more fullness, you can go ahead and multiply that by 4, by 5, by 6 to get your desired fullness. So whether you are attaching the gathers to your waistline or to your sleeve or to your neck, go ahead and multiply that circumference by 3, 4 or 5 and above. So now what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and measure out what I have here. As you can see, I have about 34 inches, which is slightly more than 3 times the measurement of my band. The first method I'm going to be sharing with you guys is what I call the Baste method. This method requires you to set your sewing machine to the highest stitch length. If you're working with an electric machine, I would advise you to loosen up the tension of your sewing machine. After setting up your machine, you take your fabric and you will run 2 lines of stitches. You just go ahead and run the first line, skip like 1/4 of an inch and run another line. You can decide to run just 1 line, but I like to run 2 lines. So I'll take this to my sewing machine and stitch it up, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay guys, I have gone ahead to stitch down the 2 lines. As you can see, I have 2 sets of lines at the top of my fabric. So what I am going to do next is go to one side and separate the threads. I am going to pick the 2 top threads, the 2 threads that are on top on the right side of the fabric, and I'll pull on it slightly, and as you can see, it has already started forming the gathers. So pull on these threads slightly, do not exert much force or else the thread will break and you will have to start again. So you just keep gathering it like this, gather it like this towards the center, and you can go to the other side and go ahead and gather the same thing. I like gathering from 2 sides so that it will be even, I think. But you can gather from one side if you want, but I just like to gather from 2 sides so that I'll have an even spread. So you just go ahead and you keep gathering, pulling on the thread slightly and adjusting the fabric till you get the desired length that you want. After gathering, this is what I have, guys. You can see that I have 2 long threads dangling at both sides. This long thread just signifies how much fabric I have gathered in. Next, I'm taking my tape to measure and confirm that I have the 11 inches that I need. If it is not up to the measurement you need, you just go ahead and adjust it further, either loosen it out a bit or tighten it up a bit, and you'll get what you want. So now I am just going to bring back my band and I'll place my fabric, this gather fabric, right side facing right sides, and I'll go ahead and stitch that down. This is what I have after attaching the waistband. As you can see, our gathers are here to stay, looking very beautiful. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and gather up the same piece of fabric using just one single line, and I'll go ahead and show you what it looks like after gathering. Alright guys, I have gone ahead to gather this same fabric using just one line of gathers, and this is what we have. I think there is no significant difference. You know, a lot of people have said that there is a difference when you gather with two lines and with one line. So this is it on the screen, guys. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section if you found any difference between gathering with two lines and one line. But for me, I think I will be using two lines because it just gives me stability and ensures that my thread does not break. Alright guys, the second method is what I call the freehand or freestyle method. In this method, I just go ahead and use my freehand and freestyle like the name implies. So going to my sewing machine, I will take my waistband and fold it into two equal halves and I'll notch it. I'll also go ahead and I'll do the same thing for the fabric that I'll be gathering, fold it into two equal halves and notch it. This just serves as a guide for me since I'm doing it using the freehand method. So what I'm going to do next is match these notched parts together like this and secure it down with a pin. It's really not necessary to do this part, but I just like to do it so that it serves as a guide for me so that I know when I get to the half and manage my fabric properly. So now I am going to bring the end of the fabric and match it with the end of the band, and I will just attach it like this, go to my sewing machine and I'll start gathering this up. Before I start making my gathers, I'll make sure to backstitch the beginning of this fabric. This is to make sure that my seams don't come undone. And after doing that, next I'm just going to start pushing this fabric towards the presser foot. As you can do, I am pushing small bits and amount of fabric at a time. It's literally tiny. Just go ahead and look at what I'm doing because my explanation may not do justice to what I am doing. So I'm just taking small bits and pieces of fabric at a time and pushing it towards the presser foot like you can see me doing. Just go ahead and keep doing this. If you're going to be trying out this technique, I would advise you to take it slowly, and over time you'll get a hang of it. I like to use this technique when I am gathering a long strip of fabric. This is because I am usually very lazy. I don't have the energy to run two lines of gather, stitch and start gathering it up to my desired length. And as you can see, I am using a manual machine, and if you are using a manual machine, you can understand with me that this machine has a tendency to break thread. So imagine sewing that gathers line and it breaks somewhere in the middle and you have to lose it and start afresh. So I don't have strength for that drama and headache, hence why I like to use this method. I also like to use this method if I am gathering a very thick or heavy material. So I'll keep gathering this until I get to the other end of my band, and I'll go ahead and backstitch that end to anchor it in place. And I'll go ahead and pull it out. I'll cut my threads, and after cutting my threads, this is what we have, guys. As you can see, it is looking pretty and the gathers are there on point. So let me know, guys, would you try this method out? This method just requires a little bit of patience and skills. You just have to learn to work your way around it and gather it evenly, because if you're not careful, some sides may be fuller than some sides. Other than that, there is no problem. Alright guys, the third and last method that I am going to be sharing with you today is the running stitch method. For this method, you just need your thread and needle. So guys, bringing back this piece of fabric, I have gone ahead to attach a thread to my needle. I doubled the thread, as you can see. I know it's not clear enough, but I went ahead to double the thread, and I'm just going to tie a knot at the end. After tying the knot, I'll come to one end of my fabric and I'll pass my needle in and out like this, like you can see me doing, in and out. In order to achieve a running stitch, all you need to do is pass your needle in and out. You can space it using half an inch or quarter of an inch. It just depends on how much fullness you want and how evenly you want your gathers to spread. So as you can see, a running stitch basically leaves you with dash lines. So I will go ahead and I will keep making this my running stitch, taking my needle in and out, in and out, in and out. I will do this, I'll continue doing this till I get to the end of my fabric. So after making my running stitch, this is what I have. I tried to make it as straight as possible. As you can see, looking at it, you'll see that they are basically dash lines. So the next thing I'll do is pull on that thread to start forming my gathers, just like we did in method 1. So I'll go to the other end to pull on the thread and I'll start forming my gathers on that side too. So basically this is what we have, and the next thing I'll do is just to go ahead and adjust these gathers so that they are evenly spread across. So after adjusting, I'll just bring my band and check to see if we have the desired length that we want. So this is me checking, and I realized that it's a little bit longer than the band, so I just went ahead to adjust it a little further, and now I will place it on my band like this, and I'll take it to my sewing machine and sew that down. After stitching that down, this is what we have. As you can see, we have a very beautiful gather situation going on here as well. So if you're going to be using this method, I would advise you to use it on a short strip of fabric, because if you're going to gather something that is very long, it's going to really consume your time. So here we have it, guys, 3 methods that you can use to gather your fabrics. If you found this video helpful, guys, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment on this video, share this video with your friends, and turn on your post notification bell so that you'll be the first to watch my video when it comes out. Bye guys, and see you in my next video.